using the graph for near currently means that you need to use the graph's hosted service. It is possible to run a local graph node, however it's very complex and it's not documented as to how to set that up yet. The graph provides the hosted service as an alternative to setting up your own local graph node, and that's what we're going to use within this course. However, the hosted service will eventually shut down once the graph decentralized network reaches full feature parity, but it remains to be seen as to when that's going to happen. Won't be anytime soon, that's for sure. So I'm just going to revisit what was said a bit in the intro with respect to graph node. So you're probably familiar with the idea of running a local web server in the early stages of your project development, and usually we'd want to do the same thing with a local graph node to develop our subgraphs. A graph node itself comes with an IPFS swarm for storing our subgraphs, a Postgres database for storing the data output of those processed events, and a GraphQL API that allows clients to query that data. So like I said, normally for development we'd want to run this so it can listen to the near chain for receipts and blocks and then act on those. Like I said, it's very complex to set up and beyond the scope of the course here. So unfortunately that means using the hosted service is like a centralized indexer, single point of failure, but I think still the benefits you get from using that outweigh the costs at this point. Setting up an indexer yourself is very complex, and it's very difficult to do indexing well, keeping track of all the events and things that happen on chain. So this is definitely a way to go if you're not interested in sorting out that whole indexer thing out for yourself. So using the hosted service is really straightforward. You can just go to thegraph.com/hosted service, and once there you'll log in with your GitHub login credentials. So you'll end up having to authorize it. Once you're logged in, you can head over to, you can see the subgraphs that are currently available here, and I'd recommend taking a look at some of those and see how they're built and play around and query with them. But if you head over to your dashboard, this is where your subgraphs will live. So two things to take note of here for right now. First being the access token, which is right here. You'll need that, and don't worry, I'll regenerate mine following this video, so this is going to be meaningless to you, so don't worry about it. And then the add subgraph button over here, which we'll come back to later when we actually get to deploying the subgraph. You'll come there, create a space for your subgraph, and then deploy to it. And that is basically the hosted service. You'll be able to manage your subgraphs from this location and go from there. So I would encourage you to explore around, take a look, and then when you're ready, move on to the next lesson.